due to excessive use of retail detention and the use of prison for minor, petty offenses are critical drivers of prisons. Population rates it become too crowded that results problems such as lack of privacy. It also causes mental health problems and increasing violence and in some instances suicides. Since the facility is too crowded, the offender doesn't have time to reflect their sins because of the situation inside the jail. And due to pandemic that he wasn't allowed to accept visitors, which add up on the anxiety of the inmates. Mental health problems arise. I think it would help our jail and prison to segregate offenders with shorter term sentence and a felony with a longer sentence. Improving the environment in jail and prison will help them to at least breathe for a new air and hopeful think of a better way in how they can be a good contributor to make our country a better one. The support of the government for the project that would give our offenders a chance to improve himself even though they are detained in the said facility will make them uplift their moral in doing good for others, giving them activities that could enhance their skills for them to prepare once they get their freedom. It also must make their spirits grow, and giving them lecture will help them understand the reality and hardships that they might experience once they get out of the prisons.
In today's, a lot of crimes are happening in the Philippines, which cause for the increase of jail prisoners in its every region. This cause a lot of issue and problems with regards to the jail and prisoner itself. Some of this problem arising is the overcrowding inside the cell. With the overcrowding, this result for the inmates to have a difficulty in moving as well as affects their health. Due to overcrowding, inmates are having a difficulty to maintain cleanliness as it is too difficult for them to move. Moreover, this overcrowding can be seen when inmates are going to sleep. They don't have a proper bed and just lie down on the floor. This problem of overcrowding became much more worse when the number of prisoners coming in this administration. This issue from every jail should have an action immediately. The government should also consider the project of the jails in the Philippines. Every prisoner do commit a crime and is a bad person in the eyes of others, but still they are still human who have their rights.
Nowadays, there are different problems arising in our country. Jail and prison management in the Philippines are now facing different challenges and problems. Jails are overcrowded due to the war on drugs conducted by President Rodrigo Duterte. We heard the situation of the inmates inside jail from the news. Facilities are limited and can sustain numerous inmates. Funds are limited and it is not enough. And due to the pandemic, few staff are added to monitor them. Small or sad, to say no place for the inmates to properly sleep. The recent issues that happened inside the correction was the spread of COVID-19 inside. It adds to the stressing point inside the prison. Deaths also increased due to overcrowding, dirty place, and violence from other inmates. But the good thing is that government is now improving the facilities. Hopefully, it happens quickly to avoid overcrowding. If this will apply, it will help the case COVID decrease too. Yes, they are inmates with violate the law, but they are human too. They need to better place for them to develop their humanity.
The issues are the critical and chronic overcrowding inside the jails, the lack of personnel, especially those police officer and medical trainees, the lack of food supplies, because they have their own food sometimes the government gives. And the slow process of healing, that's why prisoners and inmates have to stay long inside the jails. The poor nutrition, unsanitary conditions, the torture, gangs, and other forms of ill treatment inside the jails is common. The lack of space, if you are familiar with kubos and basketball court space, they have to sleep there. Lack of adequate Medicare and treatment for prisoners and jails, especially for those pregnant women. Next is the challenges. So the challenges are the COVID-19, of course, use of force policies and practices, staff mental wellness, emergency planning, and relate policy. So they have to face these challenges. And the trends is that there is reformatory movement. But those educational and occupational movements sometimes got delayed. That's why it has a natural death. The parole, the works and jobs for them to give for their family, and the programs and seminars provided for them to be able to be educated after their sentence.